Forgive me for any misspellings or format. I'm trying to do this on my phone. I haven't talked about this to anyone, even though it's been years, even my closest of friends, minus the ones that were there. One night when I was in college, I was driving to get some liquor for a party my fraternity was supposed to throw the following night. I was taking a street I was very familiar with to get back to my house. It was dark, but the street was lit with street lamps. I remember that I looked at my radio for a second, just a second, not very long at all. But when I looked back up to the road, there was a man crossing. I didn't have any time to react. By the time I saw him, he had already hit the hood of my car and bounced off the side. I remember screaming and hitting the brakes, and the wash of horror of what had just happened. I'll admit I had thought about speeding away, but I pulled over to the side and ran out of my car to check on this guy. When I got to him, his family was standing outside the restaurant he was leaving and they were all screaming and crying. He has laying on the side of the road with blood coming out his nose and mouth. 2 other men were standing with him trying to see if he was all right and calling 911. All I could say was, I didn't see him. I was frantic by the time it had set in what I had done. I sat on the curb across from the family and listened to their crying in agony while we waited for the paramedics to arrive. I sat there and sobbed while 2 paramedics took him away in an ambulance. I don't believe I've ever cried so hard and for so long. The worst part about all of it, and what still kills me today, was that his wife came over to me while I was distraught on that curb, sat next to me, placed her hand on my shoulder and said, I was married to him for almost 50 years. We had a good life. Then she hugged me and said that she forgave me. After everything was said and done, it was ruled that it was an accident. I wasn't charged with anything and I had one of my friends pick me up from the police station. I went down a dark path the years after that. I drank heavily, dropped out of college in my senior year, and had to move back in with my mother and father because I couldn't hold on to a job. Even tried to kill myself with pills. It was a hard road to recovery, which I feel I'm not fully recovered from, nor do I feel I ever will be the same. But eventually I got my life back in order. Joined up with the Navy and saw a bit of the world, and now I'm on track to go back to college and hopefully finish what I started there. It took almost a decade, but I finally start to feel almost whole again. I'm back to hanging with my friends, and actually going out. So maybe there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Wow, you guys are awesome. Thanks for the support and feedback. I've never really posted anything on Reddit before because people can be assholes, but all these kind words are moving. Thank you, and big thanks to whoever reformatted my post. I am so surprised that woman had so much maturity to tell you that and hugged you. Classy. I am glad that the wife forgave you. If she had not, my guess is that you would have felt even worse and maybe would not be sharing this due to suicide attempts. Thank you for sharing the experience. Thank you so much for sharing. Happy to hear you're doing all right after such a traumatic experience like that. How in the world is this tagged as light? I am so extremely sorry that happened to you, but it wasn't your fault. Your life is worth just as much now as before this happened, and you still deserve happiness. Don't let that accident hold you back from living your life and allowing yourself happiness and love. I remember when I was 18, I narrowly missed hitting an elderly woman. At the last possible instance, I jerked the wheel and it was just enough. It has been over 40 years since it happened and I am still afraid of what almost happened and so grateful it didn't. I know my life would have been changed had the worst happened. I feel for the op and wish him peace. This was back in, let me think, maybe 1997. I was 38 and my daughter was 18, and she was dating Harry, who was 24. I was an alcoholic and dabbled in other drugs, mostly cocaine. I was not a good person, let alone mother. Not like I was abusive to my daughter or anything, but I was generally inattentive and cared more about my alcohol and drugs than her, especially in her teen years. I am 14 years sober now. I disapproved of my daughter dating Harry, but I never told her why. He would flirt with me, constantly, and the age difference also creeped me out. Also, he was an alcoholic and drug user, just like me. She broke up with him over his alcoholism. Soon after she moved away, not too far, but regardless, she didn't live with me anymore. Harry kept calling me and asking if we wanted to get drinks. I turned him down, but then one day he said he had a bunch of coke and I couldn't resist. He came over, we did the coke, and we ended up having sex. He was a very good-looking guy. He looked a lot like that ridiculous 80s Justin Bieber picture that was on the front page today. That is actually what made me think about him. For the next few months, maybe like 3 to 4 months, he would sometimes come over and we would have sex and do drugs and get drunk together. Any drug addict knows what that is like to have a drug addict buddy in that way. Then I got pregnant. I knew it was by him. I had sex without a condom a few times stupidly. I never told him I was pregnant, and I went and got the abortion and kept it a secret. Anyways, I stopped seeing him after that. It was too weird. I also got sober, for like 4 months, before relapsing. Fast forward 2 years and my daughter contacts me and tells me that she got back with Harry, and that he is fully sober. I was mortified honestly. He was gonna tell her that we slept together, and she is going to hate me for life. They came over one day and said hi, and when my daughter was gone, Harry told me that there is no reason to tell her about what happened. I agreed. It's been 16 years of marriage on their part. They have a kid together. Harry got cancer, then beat it. I got sober. That's basically it. I don't see them very often. They live in Texas and I live on the East Coast. But whenever I do, there is always that tension between me and Harry. It's literally the first thing that comes to either of our minds, I can just tell. Not like sexual tension, like, why did we have to do that? What the fuck is wrong with us? Kind of tension. I think about this often. Especially when I see my grandson. And this is the reason I come here. God damn. Firstly, WTF. Secondly, WTF. Thirdly, this is why I'm on this subreddit. Now this is a confession. I'm so sick of the confessions about sneaking cookies in the closet or farting on my girlfriend's back when she sleeps. Fucking your kid's partner and getting their abortion. Wow. Neglect equals abusive. What are you, female Bojack?